Okay, let's take a look at an informative paragraph that you want to turn into an argumentative paragraph. If you look at the prompt, it says the question that you're supposed to ask is, should Artina live in a dorm her freshman year? Now remember, in an argument, that the conclusion to the argument always has to directly answer the question that is expressed in that particular issue. So if the question asks, should Artina live in a dorm her freshman year, the answer is going to be either Artina should live in a dorm her freshman year, or Artina should not live in a dorm her freshman year. So the information that you provide in the paragraph itself has to both answer that question. It also has to give reasons. You just can't give facts. So if you look at the paragraph, you'll notice that all you have here is really evidence. You don't have any sort of reasons whatsoever, and therefore you really haven't answered the question. So after I've read this, I've determined that Artina should not, let me lower the case there, should not live in a dorm her freshman year. Because it seems like all of the statistics tell me all of the bad things that would happen in the dorm. So this is my conclusion, and I'm going to bold it so that you can see that that is the conclusion, and this is what I'm going to have to prove. Now I have to go back to my evidence, and I want to use my evidence as much as possible. I want to use as much of it as I can, but I have to provide some reasons. So what I do is I look at my evidence and I begin to ask myself, how is it grouped? How does that evidence, what does it prove? So I'm going to read the first one. It says, the Tab, an online news magazine, conducted a mapped project to determine where sexual assaults are most likely to occur. They accessed publicly available crime logs from campus police to log over 800 reports of rape and sexual assault at Arizona State University, Auburn University, Cornell University, Georgia Tech, Florida State University, James Madison, Ohio State, Princeton, the University of Michigan, the University of Virginia, the University of Florida, and Virginia Tech University. Now, from a perspective of rhetoric, this is really a very good technique, because what we've done is, by outlining all of the colleges that were in this study, we've shown that this is a really very representative project. They didn't choose just one or two, but they chose lots of them. And we know a lot about those universities because they gave us their names. So we could Google that, we could check it. But the one that we're particularly interested in, of course, is Arizona State University. So this mapped project accessed the crime logs from Arizona State University, and what they found was that in all of these colleges, 67% of all reported sexual assaults happened in dorms, just under half. So, I would have thought that it would have been fraternity houses or maybe somewhere else on campus. But what I'm finding out is that more than half, significantly more than half, at these universities happened in dorms. Now, if I look at this first part, and I'm going to highlight it all in yellow right here, is that you'll notice that all of this is talking about colleges across the board. So we're not talking about just Arizona State University. We're talking about dorms across the country. So one of the things that I think we could probably say there is that this particular portion deals with research. First of all, we have research studies. So I'm going to start with that. Research studies, or the research study, but I'm just going to say research shows because we want your reason to be general. Remember, your reason talks for multiple cases, not just one. Research shows that sexual assaults are more likely to happen in dorms than any other location on campus. Okay? And then I would, of course, want to support that. So what I'm going to do is, I love copy and paste, one and done. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it. All right, so now I have my paragraph. Let's see if we can put this up. I'm going to see. All right. Now I've got some left. So let's look at the second half. At Arizona State University. Now we go from the general to the specific. And man, this is what I'm interested in. So if I was only going to use one set of information, if I was only going to have one reason and one set of facts, this would be the ones that I would want to use, because right here, all of this deals with Arizona State University, and this is really what I'm interested in. This is nice. This is good information. But this right here is the information that really focuses on my question. And so I definitely have to have there. And in this information it says that Arizona State, specifically 63% of all assaults were reported at ASU dorms. A little bit below the national average, but still significantly more than half. Freshman dorms were reported to have 17% assaults. Upperclassmen dorms had 19%, and dorms that were neither just for freshmen or upperclassmen reported 27% of the assaults. Two dorms, Vista del Sol and Taylor Place, together were responsible for 25% of the reported assaults. So all of these statistics show that dorms at ASU are particularly dangerous, right? So that's going to be my next reason. Let's see. So I'm going to type my reason here. Research shows that sexual assaults I want to say that dorms at ASU are particularly dangerous. I'd help if I could spell it right. All right. And then I'm going to answer the question, how do you know? Prove it. Give me some evidence. Copy, paste. One and done. Now, good. All right, so we have the evidence, but we kind of want to tie it all together, right? Because even though we have those reasons, we still need to sort of reinforce the idea that Artina should not live in a dorm. So here we want to use our own sort of understanding and make our own opinion. And so you would have a summation statement, and your summation statement usually kind of ties back to that conclusion and sort of makes sure that the reader understands what you want to say. So my summation statement would be something like, since the Artina would be at significant risk of sexual assault if she lived in a dorm in an ASU dorm, she should not live in one. Okay, and then maybe her freshman year. This is pretty straightforward. It's pretty simplistic, but it gets the point across. Now I'm going to unbold things so that you can kind of see how it would look and make sure that you understand the parts. So the evidence is unbolded even though it's highlighted, and the evidence is unbolded. And what you have here, whoops, that looks like it's still bolded. Let's try this. It's bold, unbold, bold. Okay, there we go. Now, if you'll look, you'll notice that just by adding 3, maybe 4 statements here, you have turned what was an informational paper or paragraph into an argument paragraph. What you had to do here, though, is you had to process the information. It's really relatively easy to just give a lot of facts and to assume that the reader understands why you're giving them those facts. But if the reader doesn't agree with you, if for example, let's say I take a look at those facts and they said they found 67%. Well, I might be in the 33%. And okay, it's only 67%. I still have a 33% opportunity to avoid sexual assault. And I'm not going to be one of those stupid people in the dorm who isn't careful and who gets drunk and so forth and so on. So you have to tell the reader why that evidence is important if you're creating an argument. If you're just trying to give them information and allowing them to make up their own mind, that's a different story altogether.